Hi, it's Chuck Gilmore with PowerToSing Live, number 94. This is our pre-show show. So welcome to those of you who are here early. We'll get started with just some chat, and at the top of the hour, we'll start with the show. So our topic today is learn how to sing mixed so we can sing without straining. And this was a question I actually had this week, and I'll talk more about that today as we get going here. But want to welcome you to this pre-show show. It's really a great question that this subscriber of my YouTube channel had. She said, I really want to, she said, I'm flip falsetto and pull chest. We'll talk about that more. So can we be both? And I really want to learn how to sing mixed so I can sing it without sing the, into the first bridge to the female voice without cracking, without breaking, without straining. And so we're going to talk a bit about, well, how do we learn how to sing mix? That's something that's, well, for many of us may be something you've completely unheard of. Maybe you've never even thought of it before. Now, I better make sure I've got something done here. Let me just see. I bet I didn't. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it's public. Okay, all right. I did make it public. That's good, so people know that we're doing this. Okay, so let me just say hello to Ian. Hi, Ian. Nice to have you with us today. You're number one here on the list. So I want to make sure, Ian, that you can see me and hear me okay. It looks like everything is okay on my side. Nice to meet you too. Blue Lightning, hi. Nice to have you here. George, how you doing? Nice to have you here. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about, well, we're going to talk specifically how to sing mix. And I'll even do a couple demonstrations, some exercises that help people get into it. CA, hi CA, nice to have you here. Thanks for joining us today. So how's everybody doing? Let me ask you, there's a couple things before learning to sing, how to sing mix. It's very helpful to know some things about your voice. Anybody happen to know what that might be? What do we need to know about our voice? Thanks, Ian. All is fine. Thank you. That's very helpful. Roberto, nice to have you with us today. So just a quick, hey, Roseanne, hi. So you guys that are here in the pre-show show, we got a couple minutes. Do you know your vocal type? Just say yes or no in the comments. Do you know your vocal type? Because that's kind of related to understanding how to learn how to sing mix. So just let me know if you, yes or no. You don't have to tell me what your vocal type is. Do you know your vocal type? Because that's really going to be a key thing that anyone who's learning how to sing mix has to know and understand. I had no idea there was even such a thing as mix. Never heard of it. Never had even heard of it. Ali, hi Ali, nice to have you. Okay, so Roberto says, yeah, he knows his vocal type. George, pull chest high larynx, same as me. Probably the majority of us, really, frankly, are that. Ian says, yes, he does know also. So that's great. You guys are you're wired to be able to latch a hold of some of the information we're going to be sharing today. So we're starting our what's called monsoon season here in Utah, which means as a desert, we start getting the way the weather systems kind of shape. We start getting some moisture coming up from the Gulf of Mexico. It comes through Arizona and on up into Utah. So in the afternoons, we start getting the possibility of thunder showers, which are a real relief for us here in the desert area. So it's about 84 degrees today and a little windy, and there's some clouds in the sky, and we're hoping for more rain because we are definitely dry here in the Intermountain West in the United States. So let me see. All right, looks like everybody's, let's get started and get ready to get off to the races here. It's the top of the hour. Hi, I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live, number 94. Imagine that. And basically every week at this time we do a live broadcast. And our topic today at Power to Sing Live is learn to sing mix so you can sing without straining. That is, sing the higher notes without straining. So, before we get singing in the mix, it's very helpful to know a little bit about your voice. And so just want to ask you, what do you think you need to know about your voice in order to be able to make progress towards something called mix? What do you think? What do you need to know about your voice? Let me know. If you know, yes or no. Well, let me just ask you, do you know your vocal type? I guess I'm giving away the answer. Do you know your vocal type? Many of you have said yes, you do know. George said it's a full chest, high larynx. That's the same as mine. Probably many of you are the same. Um, and so it's very, very helpful to know your vocal type. Because let's face it, up until a certain point in my life, my singing was a complete and total ununderstanding mystery to me. And you're talking to somebody that had been through several years of voice lessons with a teacher with their master's in vocal performance, a year at the university with a teacher with his master's, and some classes with PhDs. But my voice was a mystery to me. Okay, so Ali says he's a baritone. Ali, that's a perfect lead in to something that we need to talk about. How to have a clear mixed voice with no strain. Yeah. The vocal type is I'm not referring to whether or not you're altos, tenors, sopranos, or basses. In context of what I teach and what we're talking about today is, what does your voice tend to do as you sing higher, and particularly as you sing higher through the first bridge of the voice? For the guys, that's about E, F, F sharp. Hey, Ivan, nice to have you here. For the girls, it's A above middle C, B flat, B, and high C, C sharp. That area there is their first bridge. For most women and for most men, the E, F, F sharp. There are exceptions, and that is on the true bass. The basses who come down here pretty easily. That's the low D, kind of scratchy, but for the true basso and the true contralto voice, female voice, they would bridge one bridge lower. But for the most of us, E, F, F sharp for the guys, A, B flat, B, C, C sharp, that's the C above middle C, that's the C5. What does your voice tend to do when you try and sing through that? And in particular, if you sang, what does your voice tend to do? Now, before I learned how to do what I just showed you, I would say, I would just stop personally. I wouldn't go into falsetto because I couldn't sing that way on stage. And I knew if I yelled it, it would go flat, which usually it would go flat around the E flat, D, E flat, and E especially. It's just a struggle. So what do you tend to do? So Ali, the question is, what do you tend to do when you sing through those areas there? Now, if you don't know your vocal type, you guys go to the in the description below in this video. There's two things you can look at. Number one is to get on the waiting list for Singer's Impact. What number two is get your vocal type, and there's a PDF you can download. It takes you right to the vocal type test, the power test, the vocal test, it takes you right to the videos about your vocal type. So take that vocal test. It's on my home screen, but there's a little PDF there. Get the PDF, and it'll save you a lot of time. Now, so let me take a couple of comments and say hi to others who have joined us. So Ali, it's probably, I'm a baritone. That's my classification. Well, I'm a bass. Um, so your classification is baritone, but your vocal type is a description of what you tend to do as you go through the bridge. George said he was P, let me see, what is it? PCHL, pole chest, high larynx. That is my vocal type as well. So that describes, as I went higher into my bridge, I tended to have my larynx go up, and I tended to pull the chest voice higher. And so that vocal test will help you discover your vocal type. In fact, the question that was asked of me in this from this subscriber, she said, I am pull chest, flip falsetto. What do you guys think? Can you be both pull chest and flip falsetto? Think about that a second. Ivan says, I've never learned to type without looking because I type with two fingers and it works enough to get by. Hope same doesn't happen with singing. It is obvious what the similarity is. I have to learn new. Yeah. Good point, Ivan. Good comparison. Ink says, I've been trying for years and still can't get a mix. How old are you, Ink? How many years have you been trying this? I think you're just like 19, right? I've been trying for years. You're not old enough to try for years yet. George says, I used your warm-up exercise for pull chest high larynx yesterday. When I arrived at my chorus, the director was surprised that I was able to get through the bridge without any problems. Awesome, George. Awesome. Yeah, directors, generally speaking, most people in the world don't know about this, really. They don't understand, they don't know about it, they don't even know it exists, they don't know it's possible. Chuck, by bridge, do you mean the passaggio? Yes. Good question, Ink. The bridge or the passaggio, the same area of the voice. Roberto says it works. Yeah, thank you, Roberto. Norin Brown, hey, great to have you here. I've been doing vocal exercises for a few months now, and I'm part of Singer's Impact. I recognize you, Norin. Thank you. Do you ever check our voices via video chat or something? Let me see. Do you ever check our voices via video chat? Yeah, I have. Oh, video chat. I'm not sure what you mean by video chat. Is there an app you're thinking of, Norin? I definitely do that a lot on SpeakPipe. I get messages all the time on that, and we're going to be doing more of that, Norin, on in Singer's Impact. In fact, coming up a week from Thursday, this Thursday I'll be doing a 10 by 10, 10 questions, 10 answers. Hopefully in 10 minutes. It'll be more than that, but that's the idea. 10 questions, 10 answers, and I've got 9 questions right now. The following Thursday, I want to do a broadcast like this one, except I'll be inside Singer's Impact, I'll be teaching somebody. And I'd like to teach somebody from inside Singer's Impact, but I think we're going to have a drawing, or we have to have some qualifying things that have to happen in order to be eligible for me to teach you online. And I have to have permission that you allow the rest of our Singers Impact people to watch and to comment and so forth. So that's something coming up, Norin, that I wanted to mention. So thank you for kind of bringing it up in terms of video. Norin asks, also, what's a good exercise to increase chest range? The exercises we talk about today for the vocal type will immediately begin to increase your range. Now, increasing chest range is a bit of a misnomer. It'll increase your mix, and it'll increase your head voice, and over time it starts sounding like chest. It's not really, it just sounds more like it, more like chest. So we talk in terms of how do I increase my chest range? You don't. You increase your overall range. You get into mix and you get into head voice, and but it sounds so strong and solid in tone quality. It sounds very chest-like. There's chest presence in the sound, but it's not chest voice. Okay, let me back up here. I'm getting behind with all the comments. So Edgar says, message retracted. Hi, Edgar. Nice to have you here today. Nice to have you join. Marnix, hi. Been a while. When new to bridging, is it normal to be comfortable below and above the bridge, or does your range increase from the bridge up? Yeah, Marnix. So what happens is you get that middle area down. You get it solid. The middle is the bridge, the mix, because above it's head voice and below it's chest. So you get that middle, and then the chest and the head voice rapidly improve as well, especially the head voice. The chest voice sometimes needs to be addressed on its own, depending on your vocal type. But so your range does increase, yes, from the bridge up. It does increase from your bridge up. So for example, I was stuck on E above middle C. Couldn't go any further. I was at the very top of, well, that was actually the beginning of, so I was pulling chest into the bridge. But yeah, my range increased over a period of time by more than an octave. It's not that my chest voice has increased an octave, but my range has increased an octave. And in many cases, in head voice, depending on the notes, it sounds very chest-like. Ivan says, my head voice is quieter than my falsetto. My head voice is quieter than my falsetto. So I first have to give up the less that I know to gain something better later, hopefully, because I never know if it will work for me also. Yeah, so at first, I think that comment's kind of related to this idea that when we first learn how to do it, it doesn't feel as strong. It doesn't feel as powerful. Now, it may not sound that way. It actually may sound more powerful than you think. But to our inner ear, what we're feeling and hearing, it feels wimpier. But just be aware, it may not be what the audience is hearing. They're hearing something a little different. Norton says, I like, let me see, sorry. Norton said, like Skype, I was asking because, like Skype, okay. And I was asking because I felt I was doing a lot of exercises and I can't show you the improvements. Okay, so yeah, I think maybe Norton, that'd be a good, your whole topic would be a good thing for me to address on Thursday with Singer's Impact, but let me address it now. Yeah, so I'm totally open to, you guys can send me, anybody can send me a SpeakPipe message, and that's right on the front page of the website. You can send a message and send me an example of what you're doing, and I can quickly respond. I don't have to see it, I can hear it. And I can quickly respond and say yes or no, and here's what it should be, or yeah, you're right on, or tweak this and it'll be even better, and so forth. But no, I want to do some video. I want to do some video interaction too, like this, inside Singer's Impact, and where I'll be teaching somebody online, and you guys can watch. But I'm probably going to require that certain things be done first, like you get your welcome. Now I'll put this on an email, send it to you. I want to take the time of the group here. So George says we use half steps ascending and descending the scales when we warm up at the chorus. Even use bubble lips. Ah, that's cool. Yeah, it's a great exercise, great warm-up exercise. Roberto de la Rosas is at Norm Brown. He uses Skype. Yeah, really recommended to take a class. Well, thank you, Roberto. That's very kind. Ink King says, Chuck, how is a lyric tenor's first passaggio at A4 when some lyric tenors can't sing above F4? If they can't sing above F4, how do they know they're a lyric tenor? Ian Istomin. So Chuck, a question. As I practice my mix with nay, nay, no, no, etc., I can easily sing above the high C, but it is harder to sing G, A, B below high C. What should I do? Practice more and will it come? Ian, that's a good question. It led one of my teachers early in my singing lesson career to say the higher notes are actually easier. And I thought, yeah, right, sure, tell me about it. And now, as the years have progressed, I've come to realize that, yeah, the higher notes are easier than the bridge notes. Now, if you're a tenor, Ian, it sounds like you definitely are. So you have a first bridge at E, F, F sharp above high C, sorry, above middle C. Nay, 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 nay. And your second bridge is A, B flat, B, and C. So you're working even above your second bridge, which is not unusual for a high tenor. And in many cases, a high tenor can hardly feel the first bridge, E, F, F sharp. They really feel the second bridge more firmly, more, especially on the B flat, B. And so the answer is yes, Ian, it will get easier, but you don't want to avoid those more challenging areas of your voice because you've got to face the bridge and you've got to face the first bridge and you've got to face the second bridge. E, F, F sharp, A, B flat, B, and C. I don't know how many songs you have that are at high C and above, but it seems to me like most of the action is E, F, F sharp, and for many of the tenors, depending on your genre, like in opera, there's a lot of E or of A, B, B flat, C, and of course that's where the ladies live, in that area. Chuck, so Ink says, so could a lyric tenor be able to sing all the way up to A4 without no practice? I am not a lyric tenor, Ink, but that's A4. I'm a bass. I think I'm a baritone, Ian says. Yeah, okay. Well, that's pretty good, Ian. You've got some tenor notes for sure then, that high C particularly. So as a baritone, really, the E, F, F sharp above middle C is where you want to really focus in on first, and then address the next bridge once the first bridge is there. Okay, well, let's get down to the answer to the question here. First of all, she said I'm full chest high larynx, and I'm flip falsetto. Yes, you can be both. Why? I just flipped into falsetto. Why? Because I was pulling chest and the larynx is coming up. So many, many times a flip into falsetto is caused by a pull chest high larynx. So even though I'm both, the reason I'm flipping into falsetto is because I've been pulling chest and the larynx is coming up. So address the one, pull chest high larynx, with the exercises for that vocal type, and you will solve the problem with flip falsetto. But let's get to mix. And you heard, I don't know if you could hear that, but somebody rang my doorbell. But I am here solo today. My wife is out of town, so I hope they go away. Okay, so in order to mix, you've got to do the exercises for what your vocal type is. So if you're pull chest high larynx, you've got to do those exercises. So Noran, you mentioned, I think, the exercises, or someone did earlier. We've got to do those exercises for pull chest high larynx. And I know one of the exercises is bubble lips. ladies start up here. We've got to get through those areas with a connected tone. If at any time it goes and it cracks into falsetto, then we're not going to be able to mix, because if we're in falsetto, we have no ability to mix any chest with any head voice. It's just a falsetto. It's a disconnected tone. And so first thing is we have to have that connected tone through the bridge. So with that bubble lip, or ladies up here. So once we're able to do that with connected tone, then the next exercise that helps build our confidence. Now, obviously, I've done that for a while, right? It takes a little while to get to that point, but listen to what's going on. What is that? Is it falsetto? No. Is it pulled up chest voice? It's not that. So it's a connected tone. You can hear it's connected. That's not that. That's a form of mix. Is it finished? No. It's not a finished tone. It's still got that kind of witchy, exaggerated sound, but it is the beginning of a mix voice. In other words, it's a little bit lighter. It's a little bit lighter than full chest, but it's deeper. It's deeper than falsetto, deeper into the chord structure. So there's only one thing it can be. It's a blend of chest and head, even though it's an unfinished tone. First step in finding that mix. We've got to connect the tone. We've got to connect it so that the tone quality doesn't break. We don't want that break into falsetto. Number one. Number two is we have to keep the larynx lower than So even though this is a bit of a high larynx exercise, we've connected it. That we've connected the tone. We're building the confidence. Wow, we can get through that. We can sing in those places we didn't think we could. And so by building that confidence, then you're able to start getting more and more towards the normal voice. You can do the same thing and say ladies. Same principles are for you, except on the A, B flat, B, C, C sharp 5. So exactly the same thing. You want to have that connected tone right through those notes that are so hard. And so we've got to have that first before we can do anything really well up higher. And in order for that voice to become a unified voice and not sound as if we're two different people singing when we get up higher or when we come down low. It's like a different sound. We want to have that unified voice. So Steph says, how can I sing without cracking? Keep watching, Steph. If you've missed this first part, go back and listen to it, because I just showed you. first step. One of the first steps. There's other ways to do it, but it's very fast to do it this way. You go with that little witchy tone. Now, let me just take a couple questions here. Is there absolutely no sense in practicing falsetto? No. Why? Why would you practice falsetto? It's only going to make your falsetto better. We're trying to get rid of falsetto. You don't need falsetto when you can do head voice. That was head voice, but you probably didn't know it was head voice. I knew it was head voice because I knew it was a connected tone. I didn't say I was in falsetto that time. So there's no, Ian, you may want to use falsetto for styling once in a while, like Sarah McLachlan does in Angel, I think that's the name of it, where she breaks into falsetto repeatedly, kind of flips into it. I think it's kind of cool. But you want to be able to choose falsetto, not have to do it in falsetto. And even then, after you can do it without falsetto, you kind of think, why do it in falsetto? Because then I have to reconnect it to get in my chest voice. That's the problem, you see, ladies and gentlemen. If you're in falsetto, you eventually have to reconnect it into your lower voice if you go down. All right, so you need to understand your vocal type so you can do the exercises. The exercises are going to help you get through the bridge, which is where your mix is. That's going to bridge, it's going to connect your chest to your head voice in a connected tone with the larynx down. If the larynx comes up, you start getting strain, you start getting pinching, you start getting tightness, squeeze. With the larynx down, you can stay at the speech level kind of production. Because we don't talk with strain in our voices, where it's squeezing and pinching and where it's breaking all the time, or where we're yelling it or something. So we want our singing to be as the same kind of natural, easy production as when we speak. And then we want to have that connected tone quality, and we want to have the larynx down, and that's what the exercises will do for you for your vocal type. So Steph says, when I sing, I have a hoarse voice. What should I do? Steph, I haven't heard you sing, but it's likely that you're pulling your chest voice. By pulling the chest voice too high with strain, it can injure it so that you're hoarse all the time. You may have something like a little nodule on the vocal cord that would cause hoarseness all the time, or a hemorrhage where you're hoarse. A hemorrhage is just a little blood vessel that ruptures in the vocal cords. These can be serious enough that you have to have surgery. So hoarseness, unless you're sick. Now, being sick is another reason for being hoarse. The vocal cords are puffy and swollen, and they don't come together firmly, so we have a kind of a hoarse quality about it. But it could be damage, and so singing with pulling the chest voice higher and higher, and kind of belting it, yelling it out, is what causes hoarseness, generally speaking. So what we're talking about today is the answer to this, if that's the cause, or if it was the cause. If you have some vocal damage, the first thing you probably should do, if it persists and doesn't go away, is go see the ear, nose, and throat doctor, the ENT doctor, and they can look at your vocal cords to see if they've been damaged. Okay, so let's talk about item number 3 here. Our third comment, or third segment is, so how do we actually start singing mix? So once you're able to connect the tone quality, so once you have a connected tone, that is nay 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 nay. So it's not breaking nay nay nay, or nay 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 nay. Then we want to start substituting. We want to reduce the rattiness, the little witchy sound, to get more towards normal, and we want to introduce other words and things. So here's another exercise. If I said, Nay, 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 no, 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 no. Now I've got another word going. Now that's the A flat. It's the top of, very top of my, it's through the first bridge, through a couple approach notes to the second bridge. The very next note would be the beginning of my second bridge. So I'm going to come down from there. Nay, 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 no, 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 no. So at first you're going to have to stay probably kind of witchy, a little bit, nay, a little exaggerated. Nay, 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 no, 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 no. So that so that we don't pull up the chest voice, so that we don't yell it or belt it out, and so that the tone quality stays connected. Nay, 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 no, 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 no. The more we do it, the more comfortable we get, the more the muscle memory kind of kicks in. And so we can go a little bit more towards normal. Nay, 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 no, 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 no. Nay, 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 no, 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 no. Nay, 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 no, 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 no. Then I can start leaning on a little bit harder. But you notice that that last note, I was on the G above middle C. For guys, that's the beginning of our head voice. For the ladies, here's the high C, pretty much all the way through your first bridge. Nay, 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 no, 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 no. Well, I'm not too far off normal there. That's pretty high for a bass. Here's the C sharp. Nay, 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 no, 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 no. A little bit of scratch in there, but that's just my acid reflux. So the concept is we keep the larynx down, we connect the tone, and we start building that confidence, and then we gradually get to more normal quality of sound production by reducing that little bratty, witchy sound. Nay, 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 no, 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 no. That's the A flat. That's a pretty solid tone. You might think that was chest, but it was I'm in head voice. Nay, 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 no, 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 which is the same condition as my mix coordination. In other words, the larynx is down and the tone's connected, and I'm doing the same thing I did in the bridge. This is the point that I was making earlier ago. I think it was Norin. Gosh, I'm getting myself mixed up here because I've been answering questions today online too. But we do the same thing in head voice that we do in the bridge. Nay, 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 no, 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 no. That's strictly speaking a mix. That's the top. That's the F sharp, the top of the bridge. Nay, 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 no, 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 no. That's the F. Nay, 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 no, no, no. But what it isn't is this. Nay, 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 no, no, no. You can hear the difference. That's pulling. That's pulling chest and having the larynx go up. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about pulling the chest voice higher. We're talking about mixing the chest voice with the head voice. No, no, nay, 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 no, 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 no. Nay, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Second bridge. No, 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 no. That's the A, and so forth on up. That's how you learn how to sing mixed. Or just how we got to it. We learned our vocal type. We did the exercises for the vocal type. We connected the tone. We connected the tone through the bridge. We kept the larynx down through the bridge. Got that confidence going. Did a few more exercises in that bridge area. We did them correctly. And then we gradually get more and more confidence. So we start going more towards normal rather than the witchy bratty sound. We get more towards normal on the nay, 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 no, no, no. And notice on the nay, 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 I don't say no, no, no. I don't let the no drop down into my mouth and then become full chest. Nay, 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 no, 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 no. I keep that no in the same place, the same feel as the nay put it. So this is exactly how you learn how to do mix. Now, I wish you could all do it first day, first lesson, first time. It didn't happen that for me. It didn't happen that way for me, and it won't probably happen for you either the first time because it's teaching people how to um, sing in a way you've never sung before. Um, so I hope that makes some sense. This is a really, really important question and a really important demonstration today. Ian says, "Is there?" Um, oh, sorry, Steph. When I sing with a hoarse voice, what should I do? Okay, go see a doctor. Check does singing above the passaggio have the same ease in singing in a lighthead voice? Have the singing above the passaggio have the same ease at singing in a lighthead voice when you do it right? Yeah. So. Ma, 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 ma. Steph says, is it dangerous to sing without warm up and why? I don't think it's dangerous necessarily as long as you're singing correctly. It's always dangerous to sing incorrectly, whether you're warmed up or whether you're singing cold. But does it help, Steph? It helps me. I like to warm up about 45 minutes before I'm going to sing. And then my voice is pretty ready to go at that point. And it takes some time, Steph, for blood flow and moisture to get to the vocal cords, which is one of the byproducts of getting your warm up. It just kind of gets everything going again. And so that, but for me, it doesn't really feel that good for, about 30 to 45 minutes after I do my warm up. So I think it's definitely helpful. Um, I think I can sing without warming up, Steph, and I can sing without hurting my voice, but it just doesn't feel that good if without a warm up. I didn't warm up today, okay? Before this, I didn't warm up. But if I'm going to go do a performance on stage, then I will warm up. If I'm singing a solo, I'm going to warm up. Carlos DP, hi Carlos. I mean, even Michael Jackson warmed up. Here's the thing. When you're on tour, if you're on tour and you're doing songs every night or every other night, and you've got late nights and early mornings, and you got to take care of your body, mind, and voice. And so yes, it's actually many times Seth Riggs would travel with Michael and just would keep him tuned up really, really well. Keep him from doing wrong things. Keep him from doing things in his performances that would cause problems, and he did periodically. And it kept him healthy vocally. There is no doubt I can sing higher since I started with the exercises, but for me and others who detect faults in singing until I get to a certain level, that is not good enough until the first stage. Yeah, look, when a little kid starts to learn how to walk, he doesn't start running the first day. He doesn't do a marathon. He doesn't do a 40-yard dash. It just takes us a while. I'll share, if you guys have ever seen the movie Chariots of Fire, probably maybe my favorite movie of all time, because I think about it and I've seen it multiple times. But here's a world-class runner, never lost. He lost one match against Eric Little, who was an Olympic runner also, Olympic caliber, and ended up winning gold medals. He lost in a race, I think they were in Scotland or somewhere in the UK. This is before the 1920 Olympics or something like 21 Olympics, sometime in that time era. And his trainer in the movie, he had approached Sam Musabini, who was a professional trainer, and Sam said he'd watch, and if he could help him, he would contact him. Well, after um, Harold Abrams, after Harold Abrams lost the race to Eric Little, now this is a world-class runner. Sam Musabini comes up to him and he says something like, "Mr. Abrams, I can find you another 2 yards," something like that, or in other words, 2 more strides to win the race. Well, then the movie shows how he took his running apart. He literally took it apart and put it back together again over months and months of training, hours a day, months, maybe years. The movie doesn't really show, but this is a guy who maybe he only lost one race, and he redid his whole learning. He had to relearn how to run. Why is singing any? I don't think singing is any different. I think when we have to relearn, we have to forget the old way of doing things and relearn to do new ways. We think it would be easier than that. It is not. We have to forget old stuff and start new things that we'd never considered. So getting close to, I have to wrap up here because I've got students coming this afternoon. Steph says, inking, oh, I did not know that. Okay, well, thank you for demonstrating all that with your own voice. Sure, Ian, it does help me too when I see demonstrations. Ink says, you can sing without warming up. Easy. My voice already feels ready in the morning. You're lucky. My voice never feels ready. Carlos says, it does for everyone, but it gets cold throughout the day due to external factors. I'm in a desert, you guys. I don't know where you live, but here it's dry, so dry. We're the third driest state in the United States, and we get hardly any rain, very little moisture throughout the year. It snows in the mountains. And so when the mountains melt, when the snow melts, we capture the rain in our reservoirs, and we use that melt off, the snow melt off, for our drinking water and our watering our gardens and so forth. That's how otherwise we couldn't live here but the mountains allow us to do that so there's no humidity. It's in the 20 percentile most of the time. And so the voice feels very, very rough all the time. I grew up in the Midwest United States in Missouri, and it's very humid there. And when I go visit my home, it feels immediately better. Like just immediately, the humidity is so helpful on my voice. Carlos says it does for everyone. Okay. Ian says, how long did you work with these exercises to get such a beautiful mix? About 21 years. Adam King, flat out gorgeous music. Well, thanks, Adam. I guess if you're talking about what we were doing there. What voice have you, bass or baritone? I am a bass, but I've got some tenor notes. So you could call that a basso cantata. Adam King, when was my lesson today for? Oh, Adam, is your lesson today? Where is your, I don't have hold on. I'll answer that in a second, Adam. Ink says, I think the reason your voice doesn't feel ready in the morning is because you live in the desert. Right, Ink, that's right. Okay, so you guys, it's been a good session today. And thanks for all your comments, all your questions. I'm going to wrap this up. Adam, if you want to hang on for a second, I'll answer your question. Adam, you're scheduled for 3:30. Adam, you're scheduled for Adam King is scheduled for 3:30 today. Okay, so you guys, thanks for being here. This singing thing is different for everybody. Everybody has kind of their own law, the law unto themselves. Every larynx is different. Every voice is different. That's what makes it so exciting and so challenging. Because one thing doesn't fit everybody perfectly. But generally speaking, there are exercises that we do that allow this to happen. And the only people that I haven't been able to help are the ones who gave up too soon. So don't give up because you can do it. Um, thank you, George. Um, now, just as a final, those of you who don't have your vocal type yet, down in the description, there's a PDF to get your vocal type. There's also a link you can click on to join us inside of Singers Impact. So get on the waiting list, and so when we open back up, you can get inside. So thank you for joining me. I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing. You can sing higher with beauty, confidence, and power. I know this. It's happened to me. It's happening to my students. And I'll see you inside the next video. Thank you for joining me today, and have a great week.